Hello everyone, this is Gagan Singh here, and I would like to give you some tips on how to ace your consulting case study interviews. And today's first theme is on the topic of SWOT analysis. Now, most of the case study situations would require you to do a SWOT analysis. And in my experience of over 1 lakh recent analysis, it is in the SWOT that students get it wrong. The definition of SWOT is not like positives and negatives. SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, need to be done with a very specific surgical focus on what gives organizational competitiveness. Therefore, strength is something which gives a company relative, sustainable competitiveness in the upcoming future business scenario. So it's never past driven. So if an organization had some plus points which were great in the past, like distribution network, branding, cost competitiveness, patents, global presence, they might have been positive points in the past. But if they do not give an organizational relative, competitive, sustainable edge in a future scenario, then they are not a strength, they are a drag. Let's take a couple of examples. If a company has recently worked very hard and reduced its cost, let's say from 100 to 90, is this a strength? Well, it again depends when it's to be compared with the other players. Suppose there are others who have reduced their cost from 100 to 80. Then having a cost of 90 is a minus. Similarly, if an organization has a 10% market share, is it a strength or is it a weakness? Once again, it's relative. If it's a fragmented market and with 10% you're the biggest player, it gives you economies of scale. Your volumes are your advantage. But on the other hand, if it's an oligopoly and the top two players, let's say, have 50 and 35, then your 10 is a weakness. Let's talk about global presence. If your organization is present in 25 countries, but unfortunately, all of these 25 countries used to have demand in the past, but now the trend is dying. Now that product's demand is dying. Then it's not a strength, it's a drag. Let's talk about brand image. If an organization has invested thousands of crore rupees over the last 20 years in its brand, is it a strength or is it a weakness? Once again, if the brand image is for products, virtues, competencies, values which are no longer relevant, then that brand image is once again a weakness. So it's important to do the SWOT right, because strength is something which gives a relative, competitive, sustainable advantage in the coming future, while weakness is something which is a drag when compared with competitors in a relative sense and in the futuristic scenario. So it's important to get the strengths and weaknesses right to begin your consulting case study journey.